What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoints Media Club, your one-stop shop for discussions on all things movies, video games, TV shows, but never books. Today, I am joined with the one and only Jim Tasty, aka Bret Jamerson, in a rare two-person media club, where today we are going to be discussing What If Episode 9, What If the Watcher Broke His Oath? So we have the season finale of What If. So far, the show's been met kind of lukewarm. What are your thoughts on the finale, Bret?
I thought it was pretty cool. I like the little Winter Soldier nod at the beginning. Like the battle. I thought the battle was pretty cool. It definitely felt very Infinity War, like Titan vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, Doctor Strange, dude, MVP of the episode. Seriously, like.
Yeah.
It was like.
They're really going places with the Dark Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like he was like eating like the blast from all. Was it just five? Was it 5 Infinity Stones? Or
I mean, at one point he ate the Soul Stone.
Yeah, like dude, he was like, he gave everyone protection spells, otherwise he would have been dusted.
Yeah,
long ago. Like that was cool to see him really stand out in this episode, and because his episode 4 was my favorite episode.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I really grew to like this iteration of the character, and yeah, seeing them all do their thing was pretty cool. And Thor yelling "Viva Las Vegas!" and
yeah, everybody kind of stayed in the kind of alternate character that they were, which I mean is expected, but I'd argue with Thor that was like too much. Like you're telling me that this Thor never even knew how to be slightly serious. But he was a badass in the way that he fights, like always.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty cool. I think where they're going with this show in season 2 and maybe a movie or two, I think is pretty exciting just based off of what we got here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think there's been whispers that like some of these characters might pop up in some multiversal movies. But we don't actually know to the extent or if that's even true. I wouldn't be against it, even though I'm kind of like meh on the show. I wouldn't be against seeing these characters in some form of live action.
Yeah, like
not necessarily all of them, but like some of them.
Yeah, for me, my MVP was Doctor Strange or Strange Supreme, but I really liked Captain Carter. So I think those were my two favorite. I think those are the two most likely to show up in.
Yeah, because when you think about the actors that would have to play them.
Right. Yeah, I feel like those two actors are more keen. Like, and we know Benedict Cumberbatch is signed up for who knows how many.
Yeah,
projects.
He's still in the MCU. The reason that's why we would never see any of these alternate Black Widows is because like Scarlett Johansson's done with the role.
I don't know. They made up now, so who knows, man.
Well, I mean, they settled the lawsuit, but I mean, I just think regardless of whether or not the lawsuit had happened, she wasn't showing up.
Yeah, and like I don't think we'll get this version of Gamora, although it was pretty cool. I think that was the episode that got cut.
It's very obvious that that's the episode that got cut, and I think that it was a little bit of a detriment because it's like I have no attachment to this Gamora, and I really just have questions as to why are her and Tony kind of like melting the Infinity Gauntlet. Tony is in like the Hulkbuster, but like it looks different, and it has that blue stripe that kind of looks like Thor's stripe in Ragnarok. So it's like, did he get sent to Sakaar?
Yeah.
So it gives me a lot of questions. Like I will watch the next season. I'll say that right now. These were all not the best thing that the MCU's put out, but like I still find them, they're enjoyable for the 30 minutes or so that I watch them.
Right, and yeah, and I would put money on some of these characters showing up in future projects, and that's why for me it works only because even though the individual stories are fine, I think it's that connectivity that's really gonna strengthen this season retroactively.
It's interesting to me how the episode's titled "What If the Watcher Broke His Oath?" Yet at the end of the episode, they're like, "Oh, we're just stories to you. We're not real. You all you do is sit there and watch, and like you don't help us." And he's like, yeah, I can't. So he's still sticking to his oath. I guess he just felt like this one case scenario was so big he had to.
Yeah, right. I mean, because uh, what's the proper name? Infinity Ultron, I think. I mean, he was,
He would have came
jumping
after the
through.
whole multiverse.
He was jumping through multiverses, so uh, that's something that would affect
Yeah.
literally all
And I think
reality.
that when he sends them back, it appears that he sent them back basically the same moment that he took them. So it's like he didn't really interfere with those worlds. He just protected the entirety of the multiverse. The one big thing he did was he put the apocalyptic Natasha in the episode with Hank Pym, like that timeline.
Yeah, which that was kind of cool because for a second I was like, yeah, it's like you can't because in her timeline, didn't she say something essentially like there's no one left or
I
something?
think she's the only human left alive, which also at one point makes me wonder, like, why were her and Hawkeye even trying at that point? Like, if you guys kill Ultron, you guys are the only humans left. What's the point, personally?
See, that's why I think there's more humans. It's just like they were the only heroes left or something. Because
But then that's
otherwise,
fucked up for her to be like, oh yeah, but like let them stay there. And I think she said a
right?
line that she is the only one. But
See,
it's
I
also
don't
like, how does
know.
she know that?
Yeah, I don't know, but it was cool to like just see that. I mean, that's why I like the show more than most. Was just like I don't know, just her getting transported to the Avengers assassinated timeline and seeing just Captain America and Captain Marvel still like doing their best and trying to save that world. Like I was
Yeah.
like, damn, like that's
At,
and it just made me wonder like, okay, like I don't know, all these different branches. I'm like, I want to know more and just see where these different stories take us
yeah.
because
At one point, I was just like, I wonder why he didn't take them in. But then when I saw how they got in at the end, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then I kind of realized, like, they don't want anybody that we're super. I can't. I guess I can't use the phrase super familiar with, but they, as far as we know, that Captain America and that Captain Marvel are not that much different than the ones that we know in the main MCU timeline. Just that the events that predate them are different.
Mhm.
And those are also like Cap, especially being like one of the original Avengers, and Captain Marvel now being like one of the main ones. I think that in doing this, they kind of there was no double ups of like, other than Black Widow herself. You did not have any other person that was on the Avengers in this.
right.
The closest we get is that Captain Carter is basically the same as Captain America power wise and skill wise, but it's like that. I mean, that's really it. That's still so different. It's like T'Challa. There's nothing like T'Challa slash Star Lord. Nothing like them in the original Avengers that were in the MCU. There's no person comparable to Gamora. Strange. I don't know if he considers himself an Avenger. Technically, was not part of the originals. So I get what they were doing by kind of plucking them and making this team so different than the Avengers team we know. I also liked calling them Guardians of the Multiverse was corny but cute.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I was always wondering. I was like, what are they gonna? What's the name of this group? And
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like something Avengers
Yeah.
ish. But the fact that they were the Guardians of the
Of
Multiverse
the
was
multiverse.
like,
Yeah. Oh, I also completely forgot. I guess we had Thor, right? We had two versions of Thor, but other than that, they really didn't want to repeat. So I get why they didn't put Steve and Carol in this one
mhm.
because that's for those that timeline has no reason for them to be significantly different.
Yeah, and we have to remember too, because I want to talk about this, but he picked that squad for a select reason, um, and which makes me want to talk about Killmonger and how,
Yeah.
like, like, because like even though Strange Supreme, kind of technically murdered trillions on trillions when he collapsed his own universe, he's still like
He
I literally think in the subtitles it was describing him as misguided, which he committed a horrible thing obviously, but it's not like he had an evil intent like in his heart,
he did something really dumb and stupid for the purposes of, but for one specific purpose. He didn't go in with the mentality of I want to hurt people to get what I want.
Right.
You could argue all the creatures that he absorbed count as like people he was willing to hurt.
They were demons.
But like I'm talking like people on Earth, like the people that you would have like an emotion that you could be like, but we're still human, we're still the same. Mm-hmm. Whereas Killmonger really did want to use the stones for his advantage, and like, what was his plan? Take over the Earth with it? Because he also, I'm not saying I believe him, but he pitched the idea to everyone else as like, we could do good things with the stones. We can fix all our universes.
Yeah, but I mean...
But he was just saying that to get them to agree to it. And in his idea, I would also think that his version of fixing the world would be total domination of the world.
Yeah, because was it the Killmonger episode where the Watcher said this one breaks my heart, or was that the Ultron episode? All I know is the Killmonger episode was one of the, like, it was probably Ultron and Killmonger where he was like visibly upset and saddened by the events that transpired in that particular universe more than any of the other ones.
I think so, yeah.
And so yeah, when he picked him for the squad, I was like, okay, I mean, you know, he has the powers of the Black Panther, so he's gonna be useful, but he's a bad dude.
He's a bad dude, but he knows what he knew what he needed on the team, and it's like he wasn't like, it's weird. Killmonger, like, in that universe is acting as though he's a good guy, and so that's enough to be like, you know that this mission would be important. And then he got seduced by the stones, or drawn in by the stones.
Because this series really kind of solidified that Killmonger is just a bad dude. Like, like he just is a conniving, backstabbing dude, and like, and the Watcher literally accounted for that when assembling the squad, because he knew Killmonger would go for the stones. And when you're like, what would he do with them? It's like, well, I mean, look at what he said he was going to do in Black Panther, like basically start a race war, and you know. And so with the stones, I can't imagine anything. Like, he's not going to snap half the universe. He's not
he would go. I think he would really use it for world domination.
Yeah, he wouldn't fix other multiverses. He would go back to his timeline and put himself and
another
Wakanda at power at the top of the world,
and now him and Ultron are evil Strange's, or Dark Strange's, kind of little snow globe to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, that was pretty wild with Zola able to take over Ultron. Because I saw this comic panel of like Zola and some like 70s comic or something with like similar, like, not Ultron, but like Zola's face is like in the stomach of this robot. And and so like I think they obviously took inspiration from that. But yeah, I don't know, like I felt like Strange was too happy, not happy, but like, again, like with the end of episode 4, and he was chilling in the universe, and or I guess at the end of episode 8 when the Watcher comes back, and he's just like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'll help. And then
I mean, he's had nothing better to do, right? He's just kind of sitting there,
right? But then in episode 9, the Watcher's like, all right, you're back in your, prison. I mean, which again, he committed a horrible crime. He's like, all right, you got to go back to your...
You have to go back to your pocket dimension and watch the smaller
and
pocket
watch
dimension.
This other... Yeah, and it's like damn,
but it's also like he can't put Strange somewhere else, because that would be interfering in a way.
Yeah.
And I know the whole episode is like he interfered, but again, he did not interfere in a universe that was going. He interviewed in a universe, or in a timeline, where there was one person on Earth left, and he used that person in the team. And he was really protecting the other timelines.
Yeah.
If that's still considered breaking his oath, I really wonder if we're going to get his trial, or if they're going to dive deep into that in season 2.
Yeah, I could see that. And yeah, it just makes me wonder, like how we said a few minutes ago that, this Strange Supreme, he's not evil, he's more misguided, but I don't know, I still feel like there might be something up with his
he's like,
and that's why I think
Yeah.
he'll show up in either
Multiverse.
Spider-Man.
I don't think he would show up in Spider-Man. I think if he was to show up, he would show up in Multiverse of Madness. For how long? Who knows?
Well, I was just saying the No Way Home thing because Doctor Strange in that trailer, he looks like his hair looks more grayer, and and Strange Supreme has like grayer hair and the darkened
He has the darkened
eyes.
eyes, and he also talks slower, like he's always in a little bit of pain. I think that that's our Doctor Strange in the No Way Home trailer. I don't think that there's anything suspicious about it.
Okay, but either way,
Yeah.
he could show up in Doctor Strange 2 or something else. You know, who
I would say if he
knows?
shows up in anything, he would show up in Doctor Strange too. Maybe almost just teach, not like teach him a lesson, but like it would the original Strange that we follow would kind of look at it, be like, that's a path I don't want to go down. You know,
Yeah,
maybe something happens in Doctor Strange 2 that becomes a fixed point in time, and that Strange kind of has to teach our Strange, like, you need to accept that
right.
because the consequences are so much worse.
Yeah, yeah. It's just interesting to be like Strange Supreme in that pocket universe watching
A smaller pocket universe.
Killmonger and
It was
Zola.
Zola. Yeah, but Zola. What was Zola's plans with the stones? Like, he just wanted them.
I mean, with all six, he could recreate.
Hydra, but like,
Yeah, he could literally pop up Hydra, pop up everything fixed back in that world, and then pop to Hydra being in
yeah.
control. And who knows what else he would do since he's an AI program. But yeah, like if I was Strange Supreme in that pocket universe, I'm looking at these 6 Infinity Stones that work in other multiverses clearly.
Well, do they? Because
Yeah,
they
I
were
mean,
in the universe where he got the stones.
who, Ultron?
Ultron got the stones
I don't think no.
from the universe of his episode, which was the Apocalypse one, and that's where the fight went down.
No, because there was a line drop that essentially stated that
Yeah, I guess if he was jumping
he,
between each of the
he was
timelines.
already on a multiversal
Yeah.
war.
They work,
And
but I guess they're not 100% the same, which is why Gamora's thing couldn't crush it.
yeah, that was another interesting little tidbit of that the characteristics of the stones, like yeah, the characteristics of maybe powers or how
Yeah.
they manifest.
I know in the
Uh,
comics it's like a whole thing that the stones only work in the timeline that they are from. So like if you take the Ultimate Universe, like where Miles is from, and you took those Infinity Stones and put them in the main universe, the 616 universe, they wouldn't work. Which is also
right.
why in Loki they don't work inside the TVA.
Well, I think the TVA is different just because there's
It is, yeah, different than alternate timeline. It sits outside of all of that.
yeah, um, but yeah, and how the stones were like smooth and more like comic accurate compared to
Well, I just put that as more the animation style.
I think in the original comics aren't they like smooth like
And in the
stone?
comics, they literally look like little gems about. Ooh, I just hit my mic. They literally look about little gems about this big, and they're all the same, and their colors have been switched around at so many points in the comics. Whereas, I mean, even in the movies, I'd argue they're all roughly like that at their core. When you break the stones down to their core, just they have a little bit more of a texture to them because it's realistic, for lack of a better word.
But yeah, I mean, going back to Strange, like bringing in the zombies
Yeah,
to
bringing in Zombie Wanda to fuck with Ultron for a while, like, damn.
that and yeah, because I was like for a second I was like, is Thanos gonna show up? Because we don't know
I thought it was Zombie Thanos because of that tease.
and have like a 5v6 stone battle or something like. But yeah, it was crazy that even this iteration of Ultron still had like he paused for a second. Like you saw that. Like he paused when he saw Wanda, even though um the this Ultron Vision combo, from Age of Ultron, how that diverts. There was still, I guess, something there even at that point in the story. Like
Yeah, maybe he knew how powerful Wanda was, but in Age of Ultron at this point.
Yeah.
Or he just sees the zombie Wanda in front of him and goes, "This." Even if he doesn't recognize her, he's like, "This is something that like I shouldn't fuck with."
Mhm. And so that was pretty
Yeah.
powerful. But yeah, man, Doctor Strange, he was a beast.
I do have some thoughts from Lee Aarons, and she couldn't join us in today's episode. But
Okay.
she said that she thought the Killmonger thing was super obvious, and I kind of agree. Where they just showed him like eyeing different things from like he's gonna do
Yeah,
something.
like he grabbed the
The
Ultron
Ultron head
head
and was like,
immediately in
I don't know,
like the
he's like, all right,
bar.
you're gonna
Yeah.
do something. She said it wasn't a satisfying ending to the story. It felt like something was missing. Her thoughts across the board of the season is that something's missing. I get what she means. Where I'm like, I like all the ideas they gave us, and I don't even think the execution is, it's not the best, but I wouldn't necessarily say the execution is full on bad. It's just I need more from each story. I need more, and I really hope next season that the episodes are longer, and that if they still want to do like an overarching story, they don't all have to connect. You could give me a one off here and there. And she also says that the Gamora episode being cut was definitely felt because like I couldn't tell you a single thing that Gamora did in that episode, and I couldn't, so like it didn't stick with me because like we don't know how she's different than the Gamora that we know. Like when I see what Widow was doing, I'm like, I know why she feels this way and why she acts this way is because of we get a general idea of what happened to her world.
Yeah, I feel like with Gamora's world, since Tony was with her and he had like a Sicarian like armor set, like I that makes me think because of how Hulk got to Sakaar during the events of Age of Ultron in that universe, somehow Tony ends up on the Quinjet that
Tony just keeps flying the Quinjet away.
to escape for some reason, and then he gets sucked into that wormhole, shows up on Sakaar, and then maybe Gamora's on Sakaar too, or
Yeah.
obviously they team up.
I mean,
And
I also wonder if maybe Tony ended up in space after, like when he flies the nuke up through the wormhole in Avengers 1. Maybe he
yeah,
gets stuck up there, but his suit doesn't break down and he's in space for a few years. Again, we truly have no idea. I mean, it's more of a Gamora focused episode, so they might just yada yada how Tony got up into space.
Tony does not die in that episode if we ever see it. So that's
Yeah, finally an episode with Tony where he doesn't die.
that's something that we'll
Yeah.
miss for sure.
What would you
Uh,
want out of a second season? Like, what would you want them to fix? And what are some stories you'd want them to tell?
That's tough because like to go off Leerin's point, like how she said it didn't feel complete. Um, just makes me think of what I said earlier of like we don't know the ramifications of this story because it's obviously going to play into season 2 or a movie or something else. We don't like the story literally isn't finished, and that's just that comes with the territory of the MCU.
Yeah.
I think what I would want to see from a season 2 is like how you said, like you like some of the one-offs or you want more one-offs. I think because a couple of these episodes kind of were more connected than others, right? Like I feel like Doctor Strange, his episode, him being in episode 8 and him being in the finale clearly feels like the backbone or part of the backbone of the story. So I think for season 2 I would like more of a connectiveness between all 9-10 episodes where it's clearly like being pieced together. But obviously this season was more just establishing different iterations of the what if characters and then uniting them at the end.
Yeah.
So I because
The other thing is like for a season finale, for season 1 finale, it's like I hope that this doesn't become the shtick now. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to watch season 2 and season 3, assuming that there's going to be a third season and maybe more, of every season being here's a couple one-off ideas. And we all know that the finale of every season is going to be a reason that the Watcher has to gather everybody from these timelines and put them together.
yeah.
So that's why part of me is like, just give us the one-offs and, you know, make it an anthology series. And if you want some of these smaller things, of these smaller characters, to appear in a movie, go ahead, do that. If that's like your way of being like, oh, you guys have to watch these because these are going to affect the movies, fine. But like the idea of like the final episode always being a collection of the people that we saw so far being called in by the Watcher, because that's the only way it would happen, right? Is it would always be that the Watcher has to call them, which means that he's going to break his oath every season, and there always has to be some big event that requires him to break his oath because it's bigger than one timeline. And so, like, I don't want to say they wrote themselves into a hole necessarily, but you can't do that every season and have it not get stale, especially with the fact that this one was received pretty poorly in comparison to everything else the MCU's put out, especially this year as far as the Disney Plus shows go.
I wouldn't say poorly. I feel like
I'm saying generally speaking.
Yeah, I feel like the vibe I'm getting from everyone is that it's good, not great. I think what they need to do for next season is, I think they'll follow up on the Watcher, because clearly he broke his oath, so there should be ramifications for that, and we should see what that looks like. I think what would be something cool is, like, instead of doing like different one-offs with establishing characters, like what if they, like, kind of like how we talked about where Black Widow gets dropped into the assassinated Avengers universe. Like what if we get like a whole season of that universe playing out through the MCU, like Infinity War timeline, and it's obviously going to be much more
like make the entirety, like make it an anthology series, but make each season an anthology rather than each episode.
Yeah, like really get into like one what if universe instead of being like, all right, here's 30 minutes
like an American Horror Story type thing where it's like,
yeah,
the what if, in this case it was what if damn, what was that episode called with Hank Pym? What if
the Avengers never assembled or something?
Yeah, so like make that the entire season, and then season 3 is the what if Ultron won. Like, I get what you're saying. Yeah, make it that it is an anthology series, but it's a seasonal anthology rather than an episodical one. I might get behind that, honestly, because I think it would let things get fleshed out.
Is there certain episodes where it's like I love the T'Challa Star-Lord episode, but I'm like, okay, like this episode, that universe is gonna end with Ego taking over everybody, or everything's gonna be super chill, like, because he already talked down Thanos, and that was the main threat in, you know, most of the primary timeline. Yeah. Whereas the Avengers assassinated universe is like, okay, like how do they deal with Ultron? Or Ultron doesn't even get created. It's like,
I guess Ultron doesn't get created in that one, but Thanos might still come down at some point. Who knows what other issues might occur now that Loki kind of took over and whatnot. So yeah, like there are multiple stories they could tell. Mm-hmm. I personally just want each episode to be fleshed out more.
Yeah, so that's another question, is like, are you satisfied with the 30-minute runtime of these episodes?
No. Every episode I've watched, I've ended the episode wanting more. Not even in the sense of like, show me more from what happens at the end. I wanted more stuff to get me to the ending. Could have been the exact same scene, right? Take the last 5 minutes of any episode, make that the same ending, just add more stuff before it, and I think that would have helped it out a lot.
Yeah, so I wish there were like an hour or 45 minutes or something.
I could get behind 45 minutes, because for some of them, they're like, for the length that they are, I'm almost impressed with how much they pack into an episode. Like the Ultron one, where I was like, that you guys packed a lot in a 35-minute episode in a way that, like, I'm almost impressed, because it didn't feel like we just went from here to here to here. Each moment seems longer in my head. Like that one, I think might have been the one, as far as pacing goes, that I'd be the most happy with.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the longer episodes. I think that one was like 35, 36.
Might have been 35. Minutes. Yeah. None of them were 40.
Yeah, which means what, like 30 minutes or something without the credits. So yeah. It's just a matter of like, man, I just want more of it. because like the Killmonger episode, like that one felt so fast paced, especially with Killmonger like betraying people back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you flesh that out, it would not
Mhm.
only just space up those moments of him betraying people, so it doesn't feel like, you know,
Yeah, you might make him a more compelling character rather than just showing us that, oh, he evil and evil man does evil thing. And don't think there's a single episode that didn't have a montage in it, which just almost should tell you, hey, you guys might want to flesh these ideas out more.
yeah. And I mean, I feel like they have to stick with the animation style, but like, yeah, I wonder if they're this length just because of the resources it takes to make an animated show this way.
Maybe. I have
Um,
nothing against the animation. That's like the one thing I have, like, no.
oh,
I like it.
there,
It's cool.
there was like, yeah, I know, like, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but wasn't Leanne more critical of the animation style than?
She said it's not her favorite type, but I don't think she hates it.
Yeah, I
I know
feel
there's
like,
some people that just not they don't dislike the what if like animation style. They hate that entire animated style of the cell shaded 2D or 3D 2D, whatever you call it. There's just a lot of people that don't like that style across the board, which is
right.
cool. But as far as this one as like how it's used in this show, I don't think the animation suffers or anything.
Yeah. For me, it was like fine 90% of the time. There was moments where like Tony looked weird for some reason,
Yeah,
and
that's the I think anytime that you're gonna try to adapt the face of a character slash real person that we know and have watched on screen for so long, it's never gonna be 100%.
but like T'Challa, I thought looked spot on. It was like, I don't know, yeah, and maybe they'll fix, like they'll just get better at it over time. Um, Batroc did not look like George St. Pierre at all.
No.
I wonder if that was just like a likeness thing, like they just didn't have
Yeah,
the
maybe
rights
because
to
he's
it.
a UFC fighter, it's like the likeness is different, so
Yeah,
they kind of couldn't use his likeness.
I was like, I know this is Batroc, but boy, it doesn't
It
look
also could
like.
be that Batroc looks different in that universe, in that timeline.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess you got me there, but
Yeah.
uh, I loved how the beginning of the Civil War or Winter Soldier was exactly, especially like her diving
It
and
was
then
yeah, it was
flipping.
basically the same. And then at the end that they found Steve.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. The stinger. So okay, so Watu's gonna probably have ramifications for intervening in multiple timelines, but then we also have that hook with the Hydra Stomper slash
She
Steve.
calls it the Hydra Stomper, and then Natasha goes, and they found someone inside. So I need them to explain what happened, and I think we did get confirmation that Captain Carter is going to appear in every season.
Mhm.
So I mean, I need the next Captain Carter episode to explain to us after she got sucked up by the Tesseract what the hell happened to Steve inside this giant robot. Did he still end up in the ice at some point?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what they I don't think it's like that different he because Bucky falls in the ice, Hydra gets him out, they, you know, shoot him up with like the bootleg serum.
No,
They
Bucky doesn't fall off the train in this one.
I'm saying in the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
Like him falling in the ice isn't like Steve. Like he didn't need to fall in the ice to become the Winter Soldier. They experimented on him separately, and then they would just cryo freeze him separately.
Yeah. But I'm
So,
wondering what
so
happened to Steve that he was inside the Hydra Stomper all these years.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, just thinking about it, especially since he had so many illnesses and stuff, like maybe they still put the super soldier bootleg serum in him, or because clearly he, like
I
we
mean,
said in the
yeah,
first
we
episode,
basically don't know what happened after Captain Carter got sucked into that portal, but I think the Tesseract was still on Earth, so maybe he still had to fly it to get rid of the Tesseract.
yeah, because I remember Lee Aaron saying in the first episode that because Steve had scarlet fever, like he was
He
not gonna
probably
get
wouldn't be
that.
alive at this point. Yeah, but we all assumed that
So,
he wouldn't be frozen on ice.
so I think he got experimented on some way and still in the suit and is like a Winter Soldier Hydra Stomper. So I don't know. Like, yeah, that's that's gonna be wild to follow up on. But and for me, like with that storyline, like I kind of like. I know like not everyone's feels this way, but I kind of like how like they play off of the existing storylines and just tweak them and change them up a little bit. Like I don't know, I liked how Captain Carter was first Avenger, but a little bit different, and then it's going to continue on and branch out even more with Steve Hydra Stomper still being alive and playing a role in whatever episode or episodes go on in season 2. So I was a fan of I'm a fan of that kind of thing.
Did you hear that?
No.
All right, yeah, I just had some people shouting in my hallway. God bless the noise suppression Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think it is time to wrap things up. Do you have any final thoughts, Brett?
Yeah, I overall enjoyed this episode. It was this definitely was a show that I didn't stay up every week for 2 a.m. my time to watch it. Like it didn't have that energy as the live action shows so far.
Yeah, for me it was like if I'm up, I'm up.
But I had a fun ride, and I love the different subversions of the characters that we know and love in the main timeline. Some more than like I really loved Strange Supreme, and I'm excited to see where he goes. Captain Carter was cool. Like, yeah, it was overall a fun journey. And, I'm excited to see them improve the show going on in season 2.
Yeah,
and the further connected stuff that all this stuff shows up in other movies. And things like that.
I definitely have my complaints about it, but I'm also definitely going to still watch the second season. I don't hate it with that much vitriol. I'm just like, it's not the greatest, but I'm entertained for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, and the thing is, like, it's gonna be connected to other stuff.
That's the thing. It does sound like they want to make this count, so I'm gonna keep my eye on it.
So yeah, it's kind of almost that thing. If you want to be in the know of all these little details that will show up in other projects, like you kind of have to keep watching it, and that's a beauty in the curse of the MCU.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well then, we will see you guys next week. We have no more Marvel shows coming up until Hawkeye comes mid-November, so Media Club is actually not going on a break. We're just going to be talking about anything else we want to, so keep your eyes out for a bunch of cool announcements, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.